Hey everyone, I'm working on a tower defense game that I've wanted to make for a long while now. So much so that I've actually tried a few times before and even did a devlog process. I'm hopeful that with some better experience managing solo projects from working on my previous game Spookball, I've learned some tricks so I can see it through. Enough of that, however, let's talk about the tower defense I want to make. Tower defenses come in two main shapes, predefined maze shapes, or allowing players to make their own paths. I've always been nervous to try a true mazing TD since it involved handling pathfinding manually, but this was a good opportunity to learn. Before I can think about core gameplay loops, however, I have to get through this pathfinding work. After looking around, I chose to implement A-star pathfinding. A-star is an algorithm that tries to find the best path possible by making educated guesses. Each node can be one of three things: not yet visited, open, or closed. To begin, the starting node is the only open node. It will check its neighbors, making them children of the starting node, and give them two values. The first is how many nodes away it is from the start, in this case 1, and the literal distance the node is from the end. Each node is now considered open, while the start is added to the closed list. We now begin the cycle again, choosing the node with the lowest combined of the two values from the open list. This is our best guess as to how we should proceed, and we continue this process until we find the end, or no open nodes exist, in which case no path exists. I'm skipping a lot, so I highly recommend a Medium article written by Nicholas Swift that I will link below that made up the basis for my implementation. My next big hurdle was making sure enemies could walk to the end without being a performance nightmare. The ASR algorithm provides some built-in concepts that will help us out so we can use a single calculation for all movement. First, each node has a concept of a parent and child. Following the parent chain of an individual node will bring you to the start. Second, rather than stopping when I find the end, let's map the whole maze. Now, from any node, I can find the shortest path to the start. Finally, let's make the start our end. No matter where a monster finds itself, it can now look at the parent of the node it is on and move towards it, eventually making its way to the quote, end. One lingering problem we're solving now is how monsters should behave if no path is found. This means our player made an invalid maze. As a brute force solution, when a monster can't figure out a path, it will set all nearby nodes to walkable, destroy any objects on them, and pick a node that is directionally closer to the end to walk towards. This continues until a path then exists. Immediately destroying the maze with no warning can be brutal, but in a future pass I will give some warning by making the monsters damage nearby things slowly, giving the player a short amount of time to fix the problem. This is a good point for me to feel done with pathfinding, which is 90% of what I did this week. The remaining 10% was setting myself up for the next week. I needed a menu that let me build and destroy blockers to get the mazing portion of the game down. I also needed some visuals, and while in this video you see me try a few different things, I need to pull myself away from getting too involved. Core gameplay first, polish when it matters, and I have thought more about the style I want to go for. With a new base structure class, I could begin creating logic that will let me place different types of structures with unique qualities, such as if they are a tower or not, and if they should block or not. With a few debug buttons, we can now place rocks to maze, towers to attack, and destroy any of them to try different maze paths. Enemies also got some attention with a health bar that works. Towers for now just shoot randomly at enemies in range, but monsters can now take damage and die. After a week, we have proper pathfinding, proper mazing capabilities, and the absolute core of what a tower defense needs to work. Now, to resist the temptation to get 3 more weeks into the project, realize I could have done this all way better, and start over. Luckily for my previous larger project, I've learned that I get way more out of a project sticking with it rather than restarting each time I feel like I've learned enough to do the same thing better. Just have to remind myself of that when the itch is bound to come. Anyways, that's all for this week. See y'all soon. Goodbye.